Yeah, the timer is somewhat of a prop, but it's a freaking good one because
It's a good one. It is a good one.
conveys so much all at once, you know?
Yeah, it's a very good one, actually.
What's the future that you see? What kind of direction do you want to take this in, and what are your plans do you have coming up now?
Yeah, that's a good question. Ooh, man, I got a lot of irons in the fire. Off the top of my head, I'd say normalizing street epistemology so that the knee-jerk response of, oh my gosh, this is just as bad as the proselytizing street preacher. I think we're getting past that. You know, a lot of the influencers in the atheist movement, I think, are learning street epistemology. They're understanding it. They may occasionally practice it or incorporate it into a talk or a phone call that they're having with a theist or something like that. So normalizing SE, I think, is a big part of it. Promoting it as much as possible, which is why I love coming on shows like yours to get the word out. Showing that it's not just for atheism is big. I think there's a huge untapped market to try this with political beliefs. We've started we have a logo for it. We're going to sell a few little knickknacks and things, coffee mugs, just so we have some money to fund the efforts that have been largely taken on by volunteers, just paying it out of their pocket to fly to Missouri to give a talk to the SSA or something like that. So it'd be nice to be able to have some funding behind it. Possibly creating an organization like a street epistemology org where we have some transparency on the money flowing in and out. Teaching theists this method. This is not something that is just for an atheist to challenge or a skeptical person for that matter to challenge people about supernatural beliefs. We want everybody to learn it. This is an equal opportunity tool and sort of just take the fear and misunderstanding out of it, I think is kind of where we're at right now. And then eventually I want to see people studying this in a formal setting where you have, here's my dream. You have 5,000 college students who are going through a street epistemology type of conversation, for lack of a better word, whether it's through a computer or it's paper-based or these are actually one-on-one conversations with facilitators and somebody studying it. What's happening in these talks? What's possibly even happening in their brain? That's kind of where I'd like to see it go. And I want to see it taught to kids too. I want children to be learning these methods at an early age so that they're questioning their parents, they're questioning their teachers, they're questioning.
Oh, you really want to do that? You can have a
damn right.
It literally could be taught side by side with things such as like critical thinking, things such as contemporary rhetoric, things such as learning logical fallacies. I think that this would actually work out well with some kind of combined classes in contemporary rhetoric understanding. So yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't migrate to a college level at some point.
Oh, I'm talking younger than college even. There's a good chance that I might be
even younger.
Yeah, sure. Camp. This is perfect for a Camp Quest, secular camp type of training type of thing. I think it would be great.
I think they should teach critical thinking. In a grade school. I mean, it should be from almost like day one.
Yes, I think so, and it's perplexing why that hasn't happened.
I have absolutely no idea. I really don't get it. Matter of fact, I'll be honest. A lot of things I learned about critical thinking, I did not even know about until I went to college.
Yeah.
And that was a shame. I mean, had I had those tools earlier on, I think I would have been much further ahead in my academics.
That's how I see street epistemology. I see it as a tool set. Yes, it's a great dialectical to challenge a person's deeply held belief. And in a 5 or 10 minute talk, I'm nearly certain that you will probably be less certain in what you believe if you have a chat with me and I'm using this method and you're being honest with yourself. But better, like, yes, that's great if I can challenge a deeply held belief and you go away thinking about it and you might even adjust your confidence up or down. But if you go home and you think about the questioning that I used and you say, oh my gosh, I want to learn how to do that. That's even better. So street epistemology more these days for me has become a lot more about saying, let me demonstrate how this tool is. Almost like a vacuum salesman or something. Let me demonstrate how this tool works. Look at how it gets all the dirt out. Isn't that great? Now take it, take it home and vacuum your carpets. So, yeah, that's kind of where I think we're at right now, is that we're becoming very proficient with the technique. We're realizing how effective it is. There's a whole, I didn't even mention this, but there's a whole aftercare component to this that I think is very important too, where there are communities of people who have gone through this and they know what it's like to be kind of shooken up about a deeply held belief, and they're there for you to listen, to catch you when you fall. So yeah, this thing is like, it's exploding and it's going into all these different directions, and it's been quite overwhelming. But it has been an amazing journey so far. And nothing gets me, other than talking about my family, nothing more excites me these days than trying to get really, really good at this and trying to tell as many people as possible about it.
That was my next question. How large is the Street Epistemology community now? Like, can you kind of gauge, are they evenly spread throughout the states? Is there like regions that are, it's pocketed more? What's the community like now?
I'm only going off of Facebook group postings and requests to sign up to a Facebook group. There is a map on the streetepistemology.com website. You can create an account and you can put a little push pin into where you are. I think if I were to pull up that map, it would probably almost always, probably almost all be North America with little smatterings, internationally. But I don't think that that's a good representation. Going off of the types of people who are requesting to join some of the Facebook groups, the Street Epistemology Facebook groups, my guess is 60% North America and then 40% the rest of the world. It seems to be a fairly international thing.
And what's the demographic like as far as age-wise? Like, are you seeing younger individuals that are more interested? Is it kind of mid-range? And women, men, what's it kind of separated out like that?
I think it's probably safe to say that it's more men than women, and maybe slightly older men. And see, this is so talk about like a epistemology. I'm going off of sort of my observation, and maybe maybe I'm just only noticing men my age, that type of thing.
Sure.
Maybe men my age are more comfortable reaching out to me, and then I'm getting skewed somehow. So I don't know, but if I had a guess, I'd say 5,000 to 10,000 people are aware of SE and have probably used it at one point in their life or another.
That's great. Those are great numbers.
Yeah, that's really high.
So where can people go to learn more, sign up, donate? Give us all of those kind of places they can go to find out more.
Okay, so right now there's no place to donate any money, and we don't want people to. Somebody sent me $100 via PayPal, and I don't even recognize his name. He wanted to support me in some way. I'm saving that money, and any money that we get from selling T-shirts or coffee mugs or whatever with the logo on it, we're saving that until we actually have an organization to collect funds so that we can. Let's say that there's somebody who wants to give a talk, but they have to incur $700 for travel expenses. They could reach out. Hypothetically, they can reach out to the organization. We can investigate it and give them money to make that happen. So don't send money to anyone at this point at all, other than maybe content creators like yourself who are helping us get the word out.
I think you're the only person that we've interviewed that it says don't send us money.
Don't pay me. Yeah, send you guys the money instead of
the award.
Only because we don't have a place to put it, really. Now, what's interesting is so many people were asking me to come give talks on street epistemology because they're excited about it. I did a fundraiser, and we ended up raising – I asked for $4,000, and 3 days later we had close to $5,000. So that was great. That's helping me get to 4 different events, 2 of which have happened and 2 are coming up. So people are interested. They have money on the sidelines. I'm just asking people hold off on that until we have something transparent and legit that you can put your money to.
The money will
there was another part of your question, but I can't remember what it was.
Where they can go to like find out more. Like, what's your website, your Facebook group?
Thank you. Go to streetepistemology.com. If you go to community, I think there's a link, or resources, you'll find links to the book that started all this, a guide that we created for people. It's like a 30-page guide that teaches you how to do this. There's links to not only my YouTube channel, but other people's YouTube channels who are doing this. There's great content coming out from a channel called Street Knowledge, another one called Cordial Curiosity, another one called Deep Discussions, another one called Pine Creek. And
Pine Creek is awesome.
Pine Creek's awesome.
He is
I like Cordial Curiosity myself.
Cordial Curiosity is great.
Yeah.
And here's where, like, street epistemology should not just be about one person. It's not about Peter Boghossian. It's not about Anthony Magnabosco. It's not about Reed from Cordial Curiosity. These are just people who, Peter had this idea. People have started doing it, like myself. This isn't not a method that's like, I didn't start this. I'm merely trying to perfect it, for lack of a better word, and promote it. That's kind of where we're at. I want people to be focused on the method rather than individuals in it, because then there tends to become this mentality of, Anthony said that you shouldn't do that, so we shouldn't do that anymore. Like, there are no real leaders in this community. There are people who are, I guess, prominent and putting out lots of examples, but I don't dictate what street epistemology is.
You wanted to grow organically rather than some kind of top-down type of thing.
Preferably, yeah, because let's say I get arrested for something. Like, the future of street epistemology should not rest on the future, like my behavior, right? Like, this is just something that everyone, it's a tool. And how I conduct myself should really not have any bearing on how this tool gets popularized. So I'm always a little worried about that.
Unfortunately, very rarely do you get to decide that. You know, that's the unfortunate thing. It's decided by the public, and right now it says that you are the
the go-to guy,
the face of street epistemology. I think, because when you say street epistemology, I mean, just subconsciously, I think Anthony. You know, that's just what pops in my head. It's hard, I think, to. I understand where you're coming from, like, and I see your side that you don't want to be the center, but ultimately somebody has to be, I think, kind of like the leader of a movement. And there's a
great. Thank you, man. There's a great video, and I like to play it every once in a while. And I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's called like Dancing Lessons from, I don't know, Leadership Development or something. I can't think of the title, but it's about this guy who's kind of dancing. Yeah, I'll have to look it up. I think it's one of my favorite YouTube videos. I don't know where I was going with that, but basically it's this guy dancing kind of crazy. Somebody mimics him, but kind of puts a little bit of a twist on it. And then a third person comes up and they're dancing. And then before you know it, like the whole crowd is rushing in and they're doing all these kind of wild but different dances. And that's kind of how I like to see this method. It's always great to see people wanting to go out and do street epistemology, whether they film it or they're just doing it organically. But when you see somebody copying me or Reed exactly, I get a little worried about it. I understand that it might make a person feel comfortable to mimic, but you don't want to copy. Don't copy so much. Don't copy so much where you're not being yourself. The key to SE is to be honest with yourself and be honest with your conversation partner. You're
kind of giving them the template, and then they're using it, and they're adding their own little way of doing it.
Yeah. I wrote a blog post that's on the SE website under blogs called Pitching the Script, where I talk about the pros and the cons of going out and viewing street epistemology as some sort of script that can just be easily copied. Like, I think there's some advantages to it. Somebody who may never have a talk might do one because they've watched 30 videos. But if you're going to upload content, put your own unique spin on it so it doesn't appear disingenuous.
Kind of like the Non Sequitur show does, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't seen enough of your episodes yet. How many episodes are out now?
What are you doing, man?
We're at number 9. We're at number 8, but we have about 3, 4, 5 more that are in backlog.
We're backed up.
We're backed up.
Big time.
Yeah. We're quite backed up.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't listen to any music anymore. There's so much good content. There's so many good podcasts. And there's so many good SE videos out there too. And it's interesting to see people who might have normally debated, and you find that they're asking more Socratic questions. And I'm wondering, did SE influence that in any way? Or did they maybe